Everyone here to the Melissa's Kitchen today, and for those out there listening in on today's special guest. Today alongside me is Shelly London. Let me tell you a little bit about her book as she co-written with a group of other passionate people in the Family Dinner Project. This is Eat, Laugh, Talk, the Family Dinner Playbook. And so we're celebrating this book today here in Los Angeles, California. So let me tell you a little bit about Shelly before we begin, and then she'll really get into the meat of what the family dinner playbook is all about. Shelly created the concept for this family dinner project while an integral fellow in Harvard Advanced Leadership Initiative, a program for seniors leaders who want to go from their primary career to their life of service. Since completing her career as a senior corporate marketing and communications executive, we share that, Shelly focuses on social impact and teaches ethics at New York University's Stern School of Business. Working with various teams, she has spearheaded the creation of initiatives such as Quandary, a free and award-winning computer game that helps build ethical decision-making skills. As president of the Posey's Family Foundation, she led the creation of Understood.org, a comprehensive resource for parents of the 1 in 5 children with brain-based learning and attention issues, and supports more than 2 million people each month. Impressive. She wants to help today's families realize the many benefits of a family dinner without adding stress to their busy lives. I have to you here, Shelly London.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Robert, and hi to all of you. I must tell you, the thought of coming and having lunch ready for a group of food writers was quite an intimidating prospect to me, but thanks to the team from Melissa's, I didn't have to do a thing. So this was great, and I hope you all enjoyed the food. Did you? Yay, thank you. And thank you, Melissa's team. So they did all the work, but now that you've had a little bit of a taste, a literal taste of the Family Dinner Project's new book, I want to tell you, and I'm really excited to tell you a little bit more about our book, Eat, Laugh, Talk, the Family Dinner Playbook. And as I do, a couple of things are going to become very obvious to you. First of all, this is not your typical cookbook. And second, I'm not your typical cookbook author. The second point will be soon reinforced by a personal confession. But first, I'll start with a little bit of a background. Eat, Laugh, Talk, the Family Dinner Playbook, is a labor of love from 5 of the team members of the Family Dinner Project, which is a nonprofit initiative that is dedicated to food, fun, and conversation. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But we came to do this book because our wonderful publisher, Familius, who had learned about our work, came to us and asked us to write this book. And along with me, the other co-authors of the book are Lynn Berenson, Bree DeRosa, Dr. Anne Fischel, and Sindel Reddick-Pont. And we all wrote this book together. So who are we? We're a 10-year-old nonprofit that is dedicated to championing the cause of family dinners as a way to bring families together over food, fun, and conversation about things that matter. Why do we exist? Well, there is more than 20 years of definitive research about the power of family dinners for the body, mind, and spirit of all family members. In a few minutes, I'm going to share a little bit more about this definitive research, but let me just say for now that the benefits, the scientifically proven benefits of family dinner are really mind-boggling. And in fact, Dr. Anne Fischel, one of our co-founders and a family therapist, half-jokingly says that if all families would eat dinner, she'd be out of a job. But I think she's safe for right now. You'll hear why. But so the message is this: if there's one thing that you want to do for your families, that you can do for your families, and that's have dinner together to help become the kind of family you want to be. So all that sounds great, of course. until you think about the practical realities of today's family life. It's not so easy. The thought of organizing family dinners takes some of the most highly competent people and inspires fear in them. In fact, someone recently said to me that the idea of organizing family dinners feels some days like climbing Mount Everest without oxygen. So that feeling probably explains some recent statistics. While 90% of Americans say that they want to have more frequent family dinners, only 30 to 40% of them are having dinner on any particular night. It's not that we don't love food. All of you food writers know you can attest to America's love affair with food. We love to eat it, read about it, watch TV programs, listen to podcasts, take photos and post those photos about our eating. In fact, 53% of Americans say they're foodies. That's a lot. I consider myself a foodie. I love food. I'm a big fan. I read, I watch shows, but I'm also definitely not an expert in the culinary arts, which brings me to my confession. I don't cook much. I could pretend and say it's because I live in New York City where you can get any kind of food you want delivered to your home within minutes, and that would be true. But there's a larger truth. And the larger truth is that I'm pretty close to a disaster in the kitchen. And anyone who knows me knows that. My confession, my lack of kitchen prowess, reminds me of a story from LA Times alumna Ruth Reichel. She opened her first book with a story about her mother inviting people over for an engagement party for her brother and sending 26 people to the hospital with food poisoning. So many years ago, I had my own cooking disaster when I started to tackle my very first cooking of a Thanksgiving turkey, for family and friends. In fact, I had cooked a beautiful looking turkey. It really looked picture perfect. There was just one problem, and that was that I didn't realize you had to take the innards out. And I didn't realize that you should probably wash out the cavity. So when I started to dish out the stuffing, it had quite, let's just say, an unappetizing color of red throughout the stuffing. And I didn't put anyone in the hospital, I'm happy to say, but no one came for seconds except, except for my very encouraging mother and my devoted husband. So that set me on a path. And that's why I say to you, I'm not your typical cookbook author. So if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait though till we have the demonstrations and you'll see me attempt to demonstrate recipes. And I'm going to make sure I have some help up here so you won't be too disappointed in the demos. But you know, my lack of culinary expertise is not unusual. Now, while other members of the Family Dinner Project team are terrific in this regard, the fact is, when we have met families around the country, we find that there's a lot of people like me who run from the prospect of cooking. They're so insecure about it. Over the past 10 years, we've worked in communities with thousands of families around the country, and we've supported more than 1 million families online through our website. We also partner with organizations who bring the Family Dinner Project to their local communities. And we've become a valued resource, we're happy to say, for members of the media in the US and even other countries as well. The families we know reflect the diversity of America in every way imaginable. We've worked with people in cities and in rural areas across the whole spectrum of family sizes, income levels, and living arrangements. You name it. All these people, no matter what their homes look like, what their families look like, instinctively know that family shared meal times are important. But they're blown away when we share the science behind family dinners. So I hope you'll enjoy chewing on just a few nuggets of that research for a few minutes here. Like the fact that 70% of meals are now eaten outside the home, and 20% of meals are eaten in the car. Despite what you might assume, teenage kids overwhelmingly like the idea of sitting down to meals with their families. And we've found that adults are far more likely to bring conversation killing devices to the table than their kids are. In fact, the benefits of regular family meals for kids are well documented. And by benefits, I mean benefits of improved nutrition, mental health, and academic performance. So consider this. Dinner time conversations with young children boost vocabulary and reading readiness even more than reading aloud to the kids. And we all know how important reading aloud is. Children who regularly sit down for dinner with their families eat much healthier as kids and also as adults. They eat more fruits, vegetables, micronutrients, and less fried food and less sugary drinks. The documented benefits of family dinner are particularly interesting for adolescents. The adolescents who eat 5 to 7 meals a week with their families are twice as likely to get A's in school than kids who eat less than 3 times a week with their families. And stacks of research verifies that teenagers who have regular family dinners are far less likely to engage in high risk behaviors that lead to teen pregnancies, drugs, and eating disorders. Kids who eat with their families feel better about themselves, are closer to their families, and bounce back more quickly and fully from bullying, which so many kids experience. So I could go on and on about these scientifically proven benefits, but the bottom line of the research is this: a positive family dinner experience reinforces children's ability to succeed in school, and it gives them the resilience to handle the challenges that are inadvertently and always coming their way. So, research is the why of family dinners. And the Family Dinner Project and our new book is the how. So, how indeed? First, I need to say that we're not about some hopeful nostalgia. We're not trying to go back to some idealized version of family dinners that you may have seen in old time TV shows and movies. Not at all. We're about today's real families. Of course, every family is different. Yet in our 10 years of working with families, we've found that no matter the type of family, there are so many common obstacles about what's getting in the way of family dinner. And here are those obstacles. They're too picky. We're too busy. It's too much work. We're too distracted. We're too tense. There's too big of a crowd. And for many families, money and access to healthy food is also a big issue. So, to address these challenges, we've listened and learned from the wisdom of thousands of families to create our playbook, Eat, Laugh, Talk, the Family Dinner Playbook. We've organized the playbook into sections according to those obstacles. And then we have 52 weeks, a week by week guide with food, fun, and conversation. Each week has tasty family recipes, a conversation starter, and a game. We match those elements then with stories from real families who share their wisdom and how they've overcome these obstacles. So everybody can see themselves in this book and see that other people have struggled as they have and have overcome the obstacles. For example, there's a family, Beth and Gary in Washington State, and they found a way to overcome the too busy obstacle. They have 5 boys from 7 to 25, and getting that 7-member family around the dinner table on a consistent basis was next to impossible for them. And yet they wanted to do it, even though somebody was always working at school or at a sports practice. So they came up with a rule, and that is no one eats alone. So if the youngest child is ready to eat and none of the other siblings are home, one of the parents will eat with the child. And then later, and engage with that child with games and conversation. Then later, when the older kids come home, that child is invited back to the table to laugh and talk and engage with the older kids. And to make all this possible, the food is ready whenever the kids are through a buffet style dinner with easy, healthy, grab to go meals, but no one eats alone. In response to the "it's too much work" obstacle, families have told us how they have come to team up in dinner villages. In one version, a group of families comes together as freezer buddies. It's essentially a food swap system where every family agrees to make a certain amount of food every week and then share their food with others. So, for example, in a freezer buddy group of 4 families, each family agrees to make 12 extra meals, servings of a freezable meal each week. Those are distributed to the other 3 families. And so, over a 4-day period, all you have to do is prepare one dinner, and then the meals for the other 3 days come from the other families. And families have found that it's always easier to make more of one dish than it is multiple dishes. And that's why this freezer buddy system, the dinner village, works so well for so many. We actually heard about this concept from military families who do it a lot, but families have adopted this approach with neighbors or members of sports teams. Of course, there's also the much maligned use of leftovers. And we have plenty of that in the book, How to Use Leftovers. But it also reminds me of a story from Calvin Trillin, the famed author, humorist, food writer, and so much more. He said that for 30 years, his mother put a family dinner on the table every night. And he remembered the cuisine by saying, for 30 years, she served the family nothing but leftovers. The original meal has never been found. When it comes to the too much work obstacle, we're big believers in the entire family playing a role. Interestingly, when kids become part of the process of planning and preparing the meals, they're less picky. They enjoy it more. They participate. There's less whining at the table. And then families have told us that they start cooking more and eating better as well. For those dealing with the too distracted obstacle, we have the advice of a single dad, Scott, whose motto is, if you can't beat them, join them. Scott wanted to sit down with his 3 sons for dinner, but the kids always wanted to watch television, and they would always leave the table very quickly. So one night he persuaded them to cook dinner with him, and they made a ratatouille inspired pasta dish. Then they sat down together and watched the movie Ratatouille. They talked about the film, and they talked about how their food compared to the on screen masterpiece. And that process of engaging the kids in something they liked with food they found interesting kick-started the whole family process of eating together much more. Some of my favorite stories in the book relate to how families figure out how to diffuse tension at the table. Anybody ever had tension at the table? No? Okay, I hear laughter. All right. Well, I'll give you a story of a family, Jackie and her husband Mark were trying to reconcile after a marital separation. And it was a tense time for the family, especially when they sat down to dinner, especially with their 2 teenage daughters. And the situation wasn't helped by the dad's insistence about talking about family issues at the table. The daughters felt he was prying, and so as a result, they started using various tactics to irritate the parents as much as possible. And one of the things they started doing was burping at the table as often and as loudly as they could because they knew it got under their parents' skin. So, but the parents were smart. They listened, they learned, and they decided to take all of the problematic conversations off the table, banished. And then they decided to leverage the burping and turn it into something fun. So they created a burp jar. And every time somebody in the family would burp, they'd put a quarter in the burp jar. And so instead of something that became a source of tension, the burp jar became a source of laughter and healthy family competition. And then they used the money to do fun things together. And so that's the way that they took a very tense time and diffused it. But the idea was fun. Now, you will see stories like this, menus, conversation topics, games throughout each of the 52 weeks in the book. Now, there's a sequence to them because, as I said, they're organized according to the obstacles, but you can mix and match and try it however you want. But what you'll see as a recurring theme is the idea of fun and surprise things, make surprises. Surprises are usually fun, at least usually. A former corporate colleague of mine was a minister in his younger days in rural Alaska. And one evening, he was invited to join a family for dinner. They didn't have the luxury of matching dishes, but they had plenty of great food and great conversation. The only problem was a large, scary looking dog that kept barking through the whole dinner. And finally, this colleague of mine said to the father, "This dog doesn't seem to like strangers, does he?" And the father said, "Oh, no, no, it's not that. You're just eating from his plate." So now, true story. Now, that's not your typical obstacle to family dinners, but nonetheless, it was one. And listening to all the things we've learned over the years from families, we've boiled down our learning into four key principles that are in the book and we think are important. And I'm going to share those with you now. So, principle number one, this is not about the perfect. Too many people carry around impossibly perfect ideas about what family dinner should be. The perfect gourmet meal, the perfectly dressed and behaved children, the perfectly set table. This is just not real life. And what families have told us is that this idea of perfect, whatever perfect means to you, is actually paralyzing them from having real family dinners together. So, what we say is forget the idea of perfect. The idea of eat, laugh, talk is to encourage us to forget all those outdated ideas of perfect and find ideas that are fun, productive, and doable for your family. Pick one goal and work on it. You don't have to eat dinner every night together. If you can eat dinner one night a week, great. If it's one night a month, that's okay too. But start where you can. The emphasis is on what works for your family. And if that happens to be breakfast rather than dinner, if it happens to be a late, excuse me, a late night snack, that's okay too. But the idea is how can you get together with the family over food, conversation, and fun? So, principle number two is we're not the food police. The Family Dinner Project has never been about prescriptive eating. We encourage good nutrition, of course. We're all in favor of plenty of fruits and vegetables and a minimum of sugar and saturated fats. But the criteria for our recipes is ease of preparation, affordability, taste, and versatility. And we offer a lot of recipes for various dietary needs like gluten free and vegetarian. But our idea of versatility also extends to the various food recipes themselves and how they can be adjusted and presented for different family tastes. So, for example, if you're going to have pizza night or taco night, lay out everything in a buffet with all the ingredients and lots of different ones in special bowls of their own, and then let the family members pick and choose what kind of taco they're going to make, what kind of pizza they're going to make, so they feel a sense of control over their food choices, and you're going to have healthy options for them, but they're not going to feel that they're forced into something. So that versatility really matters. That customization really matters. And it's easier to prepare as well. Principle number 3 is we're realistic about technology. Candidly, even within the Family Dinner Project team, we have differing opinions. Some members of our team would like to banish technology totality. Other members say, you know, you can use technology and work with it, make it work for you at your table. And that's what Scott, that father I talked about, that's what he did. And so in Eat, Laugh, Talk, we have plenty of ways. If you want to eliminate technology, we've got tips for you. But if you want to make technology work for you, we've got ideas on that as well. Always trying to think of constructive ways to engage your family. And that brings me to the last principle of our book. We're all about the fun. Families have told us over and over again that food is what brings them to the table, but it's the combination of food, fun, and conversation that keeps them coming back time after time after time. Dinner can become a refuge for families where everyone feels safe and respected. At first, most people can't imagine that kind of environment for their families. At least many families can't, until they see it for themselves. And then they see that it's real. So, in the spirit of that idea of fun that I've shared, I want to now share 2 fun recipes from the book designed for kids to prepare on their own or with adult supervision. And the not so subtle message of this is if I can do this, any child can do it. But I'm still a little nervous, so I'm getting volunteers to help here. So, what I would ask is Jean and MJ first to join me up here for the first recipe that we're going to share. So, what we're going to do here, thank you so much, MJ, and thank you, Jean. And I will give, please wash your hands. Good idea. Very good idea, always. Thank you. And I'm going to take you step by step through this. But what this is, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be making. It's called the Raggedy Ann salad. And this particular recipe comes from Brie DeRosa, one of our terrific team members, who got the recipe from her great grandmother, and who she said was one of the most fun people on the planet. What a wonderful memory, right? At the time that Brie and her great grandmother were making these Raggedy Ann salads, hummus, which is one of the ingredients here, was not so well known in the area that she grew up. And so instead of hummus, they used tuna salad or egg salad for the body. You'll see this in a minute. But what we're making is a Raggedy Ann doll out of food that the kids then, once they make it, they love to eat it. And there's a truism here. You make it and it's fun to eat it. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to read the ingredients to you. So we've made this version with hummus. We have 1 cup of hummus, and you can see this in the book. 1 cup of hummus, 4 large romaine lettuce leaves that are going to be used for the body, the skirt, dress. It's up to you guys. You're going to make this as creative as you want to. 2 hard-boiled eggs cut lengthwise, and that's for the head. A stalk of celery cut into sticks, and that's going to be used along with a carrot cut into sticks for the limbs of the body. And then we have 1/2 cup of finely diced red bell pepper that's used for the hair of a Raggedy Ann, and then raisins or dried cranberries for the face. And then you can have your favorite salad dressing if you want for dipping. So now we're going to use, this will be the platter. So come right up here, okay? And each of you is going to make one of these, okay? And pardon me? Oh, switch it. We're going to use 2 on 1 platter, okay? And I'm going to step you through the process. And here are some tools to use, so you don't just have to use your hands, okay? Here's some tools, all righty? So now what we're going to do here is each of you on your section here, you're going to place a scoop of hummus in the center. Okay, each of you place a scoop of hummus in the center. Now, this scoop of hummus is going to be the body, And then you're going to use some sort of an implement here, a knife or whatever you find comfortable, to shape that into kind of a triangle. Think of the body of a stick figure doll. Okay, so you're gonna shape that. I'm gonna get out of your way here a little bit. Okay, so you're gonna shape that as neat. Okay, and then you're gonna use the lettuce, and you're going to make a dress here. Now, some Raggedy Ann dolls might want to wear something else, but for ease of cutting this, we're going to make a dress here, a skirt, a grass skirt. Be creative, okay? You ready? So now, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be sloppy. We're into not perfect. And now put your, you're making the skirt, the dress, a grass skirt, whatever you want, a jumper, who knows? But anyway, just make it there, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to put half of a hard-boiled egg for the head lengthwise, okay? How are you doing here? Is it hard? Do it. Oh, excellent. Very nice. We're going to have a full-length skirt here. All good too, okay? So, all right, okay? So now, once you've done that, let's start doing the arms and legs. So you can pick, you can put the head on, that's good too. And that would be face down, the yoke face down, okay? And then you got it. And now you'll use the carrots and celery for the arms and legs. You decide. Now, you probably want to put the legs under the skirt, but it's up to you. You could put it in front, you know, who cares? Free to be you and me here, you know? So, okay. And then you want to put, use what we've got here to now make the face, okay? And the face can be however you want it, okay? Here's these things for the face. And then last, you're going to use the diced red pepper to make the hair, okay? All right. So thank you both so very much. You're doing such a great job here. See, this is easy and fun. I could have done this, but they're doing it so much better than I would have done it. Great job. All right. So now put some hair on. The diced red pepper for the hair. These are darn near perfect, but and perfect's not a requirement, but they look beautiful. Fun, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, I think, can see what these are looking like. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Wonderful. So, yeah. But okay, wonderful. Thank you. Great job. Thank you so much. You're excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to bring up Pam and Irv, who are going to make the strawberry fool. Okay. A fool is a dessert with whipped cream and fruit. And so I'm going to get you guys organized here. We're going to, okay. And you can make one or two of these. It's up to you, but here's the bowls that you'll use, okay? All right, and there's utensils here, and I will step you through it, okay? Okay, I'm going to go behind you a little bit so you have plenty of room to work. Okay. Okay, Irv, don't be shy here, Irv.
She loves desserts, by the way.
Yeah, you love it, you make it. Yeah. So that's the rule. Okay, so a fool, as I said, is a dessert of whipped cream and fruit. Jam, which we have here, makes it easy to customize to your taste. We're all about customization, as I said. And you can top it with crumbled cookies or toasted nuts. And we have some special ingredients from Melissa's that are going on top. So now the ingredients are a half a cup of strawberry jam, 1¼ cups of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, and 1 cup of fresh strawberries. So now in your bowls, you have already the heavy cream, so you don't have to beat that, okay? Now put together the whipped cream and the jam in the way that you want it, okay? Put the whipped cream and the jam in the bowl the way you want it, to your specifications, okay? All righty? And then you're gonna top it with strawberries and the topping here, the crunchy topping. This crunchy topping, I'm gonna give you the proper name of it. It's Melissa's Clean Snacks that is serving as the topping here. So while they're doing that, I'm gonna give you a little variation on a theme here, as Pam and Irv are working, that's from our community dinners. As I mentioned, we work online and in person with families. And at our community dinners, we create a whole family dinner experience so families experience the food, the fun, the conversation, and everyone gets in the act. After the main course is done, the adults go into a special room where they have a discussion about the challenges and ways to overcome them. And while that's happening, the kids go to another room to make dessert for the adults. There, they often do what we call dance party whipped cream in containers with screw-on lids so nothing falls out. We put all the ingredients for whipped cream, and sometimes we use metal agitator balls. We start the music and the kids start dancing and shaking the containers. And after 10 minutes, they have whipped cream. So can you imagine little and a little bigger kids shaking, 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 and now they have whipped cream? They are so amazed at themselves and so proud. So then we have a whipped cream parade where all the kids bring in their whipped cream to their parents, and the parents are amazed. The kids are so proud. The kids then take the whipped cream to the table where their family's sitting, and they spoon it on the dessert, whether it's fruit or cobbler, whatever the dessert is. And the parents are amazed that their kids could do this. And it starts the feeling, wow, we can cook together. Look what these kids just did. And so the kids have fun, everyone has fun, and you can try this at home too. My one caution to all of you is please make sure that when you shake the whipped cream, it's in a container that has a very tight lid. I don't want to be responsible for the mess in your home. So, but let's now look at what Irv and Pam have done. Very nice, very nice. How hard was it, Irv and Pam? Could you cope?
Yes,
I
we
didn't
can
get to
cope.
use everything yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
later.
Oh.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, as we've now seen 2 kid-friendly recipes, and thank you again to our wonderful volunteers who showed how really easy this is. I could have done them, but they did a much better job. So as we bring this section to a close, I want to first thank the volunteers again. I also want to have a big thank you to the Melissa's team and a special shout out to Robert. So thank you all very much. And thank you to all of you for being here. I want to leave you with one thought. After all these years of listening to families, we believe we've discovered a secret sauce. The secret sauce of Eat, Laugh, Talk is not a perfectly roasted chicken or even the perfectly prepared ensenada fish tacos extolled by the late LA food critic Jonathan Gold. No, don't get me wrong. We love and encourage good food, but the real secret sauce is the atmosphere at the table. If it's warm and welcoming, if everyone has a chance to talk and feel listened to, if it's fun, where real bonding occurs, that's what enables the real scientifically proved benefits of family dinner. Eat, Laugh, Talk, the Family Dinner Playbook, is designed to help you create that atmosphere in your homes. It's filled with inspirational stories from dozens of real families, easy, delicious recipes, as well as fun table games and conversation starters. After 10 years, we firmly believe that no matter who you are, you can do this. Maybe not every night, maybe not even once a week, but forget your idea of perfect. You can do this, and you'll be glad you did. Thank you so much.